Hi, this is Asing. You are now watching Asing SL TV. Today we would like to show how to determine the difference and the sum between times and days. Let's start with times. Consider the check-in and check-out times in 24-hour time format. If the data are in the format that recognized by Excel as time, we can perform calculation directly. For example, to determine the duration, we can set equal to the end time minus the start time. Press on enter, we should obtain the time in the format which is exactly the same as the data. To obtain the durations for the rest of the rows, select the previous cell, move the cursor to the bottom right corner and double click it. On the other hand, let's say the data is presented in 12-hour time format. As long as the data is recognized by Excel as time, we can perform calculation directly. Let's take the end time minus the start time. Press on enter and we should obtain the format that is exactly the same as the data. To convert to duration, in other words, without AM or PM, let's select the cell, press Ctrl 1. Under category, select custom. We can either type the desired format under type or select the desired time format and click on OK. And the duration will be presented in the desired format. Let's move the cursor to the bottom right corner and double click it to obtain the durations for the rest of the cells. On the other hand, to obtain the total time, we could make use of the order sum function or simply press on alternate equal. Press on enter and we should obtain total duration. However, if we calculate manually, we should obtain a duration that is more than 24 hours instead of less than. This is because by default, whenever we obtain time that is more than 24 hours, Excel would take the value that in excess of 24 hours and contribute to the day component. To overcome this issue, select the cell, press Ctrl 1. Under category, select custom. Under the type, let's set the format. Make sure we use bracket for the hour component. This is to ensure Excel would show the total time elapsed. If you want to have minute and second component as well, type the minute and second component as usual. Click on OK and we should obtain the correct time elapsed. On the other hand, instead of showing in terms of hours, we could show in terms of minutes as well. Let's back to a time format. Press on Ctrl 1. This time we should type the minute component within bracket. Click on OK and we should obtain the time elapsed in terms of minutes. Of course, we could also introduce the day component. Let's back to number format. We can make use of the letter D to display the day component. If let's say we wish to emphasize this is for the day component, let's make a space and type days in terms of string that is within quotation marks before our minute and second components. If let's say we will wish to consider singular and plural as well, then let's show some condition. To set condition, type the condition within brackets more than 2. Then I will show the day with S. Otherwise, I would have it without S. Click on OK and we should obtain 1 day, 22 hours, 22 minutes and 35 seconds. Let's say I changed the check-in time, let's say change to 1. Press on enter and this time we will have 2 days. Let's move on to the times with days. Also, to perform calculation, let's set equal to the end time minus the start time. And this time we should obtain the number in terms of days. To convert this to hours, let's make a bracket and times 24 since there is 24 hours in 1 day. Then select the cell, move the cursor to the bottom right corner and double click it. and we should obtain the durations in terms of hours. Instead of multiplying 24 hours, we could also make use of time format. That is, press on Ctrl 1, select Custom, type the desired format under Type. That is, make a square bracket, type the hour component before the minute and second components. Click on OK, and we should have in terms of hours followed by minutes and seconds. How let's say the data is presented in the format that is not recognized by Excel as time or date. For example, consider this set of data. If let's say we take the end time minus the start time, we will obtain the value that is computed mathematically instead of duration that we need. To overcome this problem, a very good function that we can consider is the text function. Opening parenthesis, select the value, make a comma, and now type the format in terms of string, which means that we need quotation marks. Since we have 4 digits in total, and we should have colon in between them. Let's make 20 before colon. Another 20 will form the time format that we need. However, if we wish to display this colon literally, then we should have a backslash before it. Move to the end, closing parenthesis, and we should have the format that we need. Now let's copy formula, move to the end, minus, paste it. I would change C2 to B2. Since I wish to take the end time minus the start time. Press on enter. Now select the cell, press Ctrl 1. We should select the time format that we need. Click on OK. Now move the cursor to the bottom right corner and double click it. And we should obtain the durations that we need. On the other hand, however, let's say we wish to switch in between UK and US day format. We could make use of Excel functions. For example, set equal to the choose column function followed by a text split function. Select the date, comma. For delimiter, of course, we are using slash. Make sure type as string, which means that we need quotation marks. Closing parenthesis, comma. We are going to choose from the second column before the first. That is, swap in between the first and the second components before the third. Closing parenthesis. If we press on enter, we should obtain the numbers in the correct sequence. The last thing we have to do is join them. So let's press on F2 to edit the formula. Before choose columns, let's make use of the text join function. We should join using slash as the delimiter, comma. Of course, we have to ignore empty cells, comma. Now let's move to the end, closing parenthesis. Press on enter and we should obtain the correct time format. Select the cell, move the cursor to the bottom right corner, double click it, and there might be value error. This is because although this is not the time format that we want, Excel treated it as date. To overcome this issue, in front of the text join function, let's make use of if error function. Move to the end, type the format that we want. If there is error, we could make use of the text function, opening parenthesis, select the date, and now make a comma, type the format that we need. Of course, we are going to swap the first 2 components, meaning to say I would treat the month as date but the date as month before the year. Remember to type as string, that is within quotation marks. Closing parenthesis to end this text function, another closing parenthesis to end this formula. Press on enter, select the cell, move the cursor to the bottom right corner, double click it, and we should obtain the desired time format that we need. In order to ensure calculation can be made, we have to convert all this text as number. Very simple. Let's edit the formula. Before we end this formula, let's plus 0. Press on enter, select the cell, move the cursor to the bottom right corner and double click it, and we should convert the time in terms of serial number. Then press on Ctrl 1. Under category, select date and choose the desired date format. Click on OK, then everything done. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you like this. See you.